Good morning. Wow, I was up 5 o'clock this morning. I saw the sun rising, and I was wondering, what am I doing here? Who am I? What do I want? Gosh, this man in red shoes. I think next time we're going to go to Stockholm and hopefully celebrate that he's going to get the Nobel Prize for peace and goodwill. I like to call myself a guide because I don't think there are accidents. I was meant to be here with you this morning and maybe look at life as one day, because that morning sunshine may not come back. And for me, I appreciate every moment. I still have a hard time throwing away a piece of bread. I will eat up your leftovers. I was in partnership with a psychiatrist, a nice white Anglo-Saxon Protestant from Johns Hopkins. And we would go out to lunch, and he would just eat a little bit and then leave it on his plate, and I would eat up his leftovers. It had nothing to do with money, but sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until we lose it. I'm coming to you as a mother of 3, a grandmother of 5, and 3 great-grandsons. So I have now 4 generations, and that's the best revenge to Hitler. Yeah. I came to America in 1949. In 1949, I didn't speak a word of English, and the Red Cross gave me $6 to get off the boat. But you see, I worked in a factory doing piecework, and I went to the bathroom, and one of them said colored, and I didn't realize that there is prejudice. I always went to the colored bathroom. I joined the NAACP, I marched with Martin Luther King, and I think we're here today that not to talk about something, but to really follow it with an action, because the power of positive thinking is wonderful, but unless you make a decision and put it into action, and I'm here to celebrate. I'm here to celebrate you, the young people, because this is the evening time in my life, and I hope to be a good role model to you. Don't worry about age. If I go out on a date and man asks, how old are you? I'm going to say, go home. I'm not interested in numbers. I think young. I'm going to hopefully be a person this morning that when you go home, it's not going back. It's a new beginning, that you're going to give birth to the you that was meant to be free from the pain, from the past hurts. No matter what happened to you, you made it thus far. Well, I know I fought that, and I won, and I'm here, and I'm hoping to be a good guide to you as to who are you, what do you want, and then who wants it. Because you may be still struggling between your expectations versus trying to live up to someone else's expectations, that you can reclaim your powers, as I did. When I worked in a factory, I also realized that there were people there who really needed my help, the people of color, the people who were really stuck in their ways. And I decided that I'm going to show them that they can go to the boss and they can ask for a raise, that they can be assertive. And so I went back to school. I graduated with honors. This is, I'm talking university in Texas. And when they told me where to pick up my cap and gown, I never showed up for my graduation because I had so much survivor's guilt and I had so much survivor shame. Because I came to America and I didn't only want to know where I was because I didn't want you to feel sorry for me, so I went completely underground. I had my secret And then the secret had me. What do we keep secret? We keep secret what we are ashamed of. I don't know how I developed that survivor shame, but I know that when I didn't show up for my graduation, I said to myself, I'm too old. I should have done that 20 years ago. I didn't need a Nazi out there. I had one in me. I hope this weekend you found a way to look at your life and see what are you holding on to and what are you willing to let go of. I love that word, willing. You got to be willing to set yourself free and not to be a victim of any circumstance. I refused to be a victim. I was victimized. And I know that if you have been sexually abused, perhaps you were more in prison than I was in Auschwitz because I knew who was the enemy. So find that enemy within you and then see there is no going home today, but there is a whole new beginning, that you're going to regain your powers. You're going to decide how you can carry the word that I, too, have a dream. I, too, have a dream that someday we're going to hold hand in hand, and please hold hand in hand, and we're going to create a family where we can empower each other with our differences and form a human family so we can finally survive on this planet. This is my dream. I'm doing everything in my power to see to it that your children and grandchildren will never experience what I did. So what happened when good people did bad things, when the world was upside down? You know, we can kill the terrorists, we can kill the fascists and the communists, but we cannot kill the terrorism and the communism and the fascism, because that is an idea. And you have the better idea. You have an idea that we can do now something about the past, that we can do a world that nothing like that could ever happen again. So I want to be so grateful to you as I take you for a little ride. So fasten your seat belts, and here we go. In March 1944, Hungary joined Hitler, and I had a boyfriend, Eric, and Eric and I were having a book club. I remember my mom looked at me and said, I'm so happy that you have brains because you have no looks. I had, very true, pay attention to the messages that you received. And so I was a very erudite young person with my own book club and presenting the interpretation of dreams by Freud and such. But I was picked up, taken to a cattle car, and my boyfriend looked at me and said, I will never, ever forget your eyes and your hands. And by golly, when I arrived in Auschwitz, it's documented by the Red Cross, May 22nd, 1944, and I saw Arbeit macht frei. I didn't know where I was, completely unexpected. I never heard of that word, Auschwitz. I was separated from my mom, and Dr. Mengele, the angel of death, who was not an angel, pointed my mom to go to the left, and I followed my mom. He grabbed me, looked me in the eye, and said, you're going to see your mother very soon. She's just going to take a shower. Promptly threw me on the other side, which meant life, with my sister Magda. Magda is alive and well. She's 92. I think she's 93, but you know, Hungarian women maybe lie a little bit about their age. She's wonderful. She is a life master in bridge, and sometimes she plays with Omar Sharif and tells me he's not the man that you saw, you know, in Dr. Zhivago. So we get older and wiser, not old and senile. Just in a little time that I have together, I'm going to tell you what I learned in the schoolroom of Auschwitz, because it was an opportunity, not for recovery, but discovery. I discovered the power within, and Friday morning when I was here and I woke up, and out of the blue I was crying, and luckily I grabbed this beautiful man. I said, I am really in trouble because I've been crying and realizing that in Auschwitz, I was meditating, but I didn't know the words. Because you see, they could beat me, they could torture me, but they could never, ever murder my spirit. And that's what I bring you today, that power that I discovered in Auschwitz, that I was told every day I'm never going to get out of here alive. I will only get out of here as a corpse. And then I stood in line to get my tattoo. I didn't get it. I was told I'm going to go to the gas chamber. They don't want to waste the ink on me. And pretty soon I was on the top of a train out of Auschwitz, December, carrying ammunition for the Nazis. We were bombed anyway. They told the British won't bomb, and worked in factories. And I arrived in a place called Mauthausen in Austria. And I thought there, certainly I'm going to die. But you see, in Auschwitz, I was forced to dance for Dr. Mengele because he came to the barracks and he wanted to be entertained. And when I danced for him, I pretended that the music was Tchaikovsky, and I was dancing the Romeo and Juliet in the Budapest Opera House. I checked out. And so when I was in Austria and in Mauthausen, standing in front of the crematoria, they changed their minds, and I survived what is referred today the death march. And in a death march, if you stopped, you were stopped right away, and you were shot right away. And I became very, very ill. This is April 1945, and I began to slow down. And Dr. Mengele gave me a piece of bread after I danced for him, and I shared it with the girls. And when they saw me stopping, they came and they formed a chair with their arms, and they carried me that I wouldn't die. And this is where we are today. You talked about transcendence. We had to transcend our needs and commit ourselves to each other, because all we had was each other then, and all we have is each other now. I was liberated in a place called Gunskirchen, and I hope you get to see the movie, The Sound of Music, because cannibalism broke out in Gunskirchen, and I looked up and asked God to help me. I didn't want to touch human flesh, and God showed me as I'm standing here, and I still had a choice. I had grass to eat. And even then, I remember choosing one blade of grass over against the other. The more choices you have, the less you feel like a victim. And I was liberated by the 71st Infantry, and I was invited a couple of years ago to Fort Carson, Colorado City, as Dr. Edith Eva Eger, lecturing on PTSD to 4,000 people, and it's the home of the 71st Infantry. Isn't it amazing how things come around? So I'm coming to you as a guide, that out of darkness comes light, out of prison comes freedom. And I'm here today. I have no time to hate, because if I would hate, I would still be a prisoner. Revenge can give you satisfaction, I grant you, but it's temporary. And forgiveness. And life is about many, many forgiveness. Gave me the ultimate spiritual freedom. I went back to Auschwitz to reclaim my innocence and to be able to finally forgive myself that I survived. I hope that you do the same, that whatever you did. The biggest concentration camp is in your own mind, and the key is in your pocket. And the way it goes, when you are thinking, if only, if only I would have done this, if only I wouldn't have married that bum, if only, well, you thought he was a hot stuff or she. Or you say, I won't be happy until. Many women come to me and say, Edie, I got to find a man. I say, if I were a man, I would run from you. You know, that's not the way to find a man. You got to be like a fireplace that the moth wants to come close to. But what keeps me young, that I live in the present, because I can only touch you now. So I'm going to wish you a most wonderful, beautiful life. I hope I'll see you again. And when I'm going to be in my deathbed, I'm going to feel so satisfied, not asking what the world has given me, but in what way I can make a difference. And I support you and celebrate you. You are the future. You are the ambassador for peace and goodwill. And I had 2 beautiful girls, and then the son was born with cerebral palsy. I have a child with special needs. He's also blind. I just came from Texas, and he's fighting in Washington for the disabled and says, I come from good stock. My mother is a survivor. So with that in mind, I'm talking to you as one survivor to another. Let's turn life into a constant celebration. God bless you. Thank you.
Yes. A question. I love you. I'm inheriting this woman. I'm taking you home. Oh. She's here. Our mics, is the mic working? Mic isn't working.
The best. I'll never forget you. Oh my God, what a joy. Thank you.
And yes. A question for you.
Of course.
And I love it. She's up here saying, I'll never forget you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Yes.
Something I've always wanted to ask you. After you lost your parents at Auschwitz, yes, and you were moved to Austria.
Yes.
And I don't know if everyone knows this story. And you were lying on top of these dead bodies. And this soldier saw your hand moving and went, oh my God, she's alive, and got her medical care, and that's why she is with us today and doing these amazing things in our world. Did you ever reunite with that soldier? Did you ever?
You know, I looked for it. I am a consultant. I did my doctoral work in a military hospital, and that's why I'm a so-called whatever expert I am in PTSD, and I've been looking for that man. You see how one man, and I'm fortunate enough to tell you that I was in the Museum of Gandhi in Johannesburg. And look at this one man was able to bring down the whole British Empire without any bloodshed. I mean, what can be more beautiful for us to follow those wonderful philosophy? You know, I lost a precious, precious woman, and her name was Debbie Ford. She's written many, many books, and in one of her books, she said the story about this guru and the disciple. And the guru and the disciple are walking, and all of a sudden they see this river, and there was a woman who was very helpless. So the guru picked up the woman and carried her to the other side and put her down, and off they go. And the disciple says to the guru, you know, you're just a hypocrite because you're saying one thing and then you do another, because you touched a woman and you told me not to touch a woman. and the guru said, I saw somebody helpless. I picked up this woman. I helped her through the river, and I put her down, but you are still carrying her. Isn't that wise?
Very much.
So see what you are carrying. See what you are carrying. the pain from the past, because in a sense, we are all victims of victims. So there is no time to blame, no time to blame. While you blame, you're still a child. And I hope that this is something that the best thing parents can do to prepare your child into the world that they can do without you. I'm guiding people how to be good parents to themselves since I became an orphan at the age of 16. And I miss my mom. Do I have a little more time?
Yes, please finish your...
We don't grieve over what happened. We grieve over what didn't happen. And this is what I'm remembering. When my granddaughter was born, little Lindsay, the pediatrician examined her and said, this little girl is very flexible. She might become a ballerina. I said to myself, great, I can die now, because now I have 3 generations. And sure enough, Lindsay became a ballerina. I saw the Nutcracker Suite. I don't want to tell you hundreds of times. First she was a flower pot, and then under the skirt. But she came to me when she was 16, because I'm a big sucker, and said, Grandma, she went to Bishop School in La Jolla. I would like you to buy me a dress so I can go to my dance, and I did. The best of the best. I think it was a Laura Ashley special. But I came home, and out of the blue, I was crying. I didn't understand what am I crying about. You see, understand is very academic. It's right here. That's why we go to school, to understand something, to avoid feelings, the feeling. So grieving is about feeling the feelings, about grieving feeling. You can't heal what you don't feel. So I was crying, and I didn't understand, what am I crying about? And I realized that I'm not crying because I bought Lindsay a dress. I cried because I never went to a dance. So what I do today in my work, and I'm in private practice in La Jolla, and I teach at the medical school, but what I'm doing now is to take your little hand and revisit the places where you've been, and then relive that experience as if it would happen now, and then you revise your life. So that's why I am just saying to you that grieving is very good, because what comes out of your body doesn't make you ill. I didn't tell anyone I was in Auschwitz over 25 years. And I'm so happy that I'm now here to let you know just how you can really create a world that will never, ever happen again, but we did. I love you again. Thank you so much for giving me the time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Past hurts. No matter what happened to you, you made it thus far. Well, I know I fought that, and I won, and I'm here, and I'm hoping to be a good guide to you as to who are you, what do you want, and then who wants it. Because you may be still struggling between your expectations versus trying to live up to someone else's expectations, that you can reclaim your powers, as I did. When I worked in a factory, I also realized that there were people there who really needed my help, the people of color, the people who were really... Good morning. Wow, I was up 5 o'clock this morning. I saw the sun rising. And I was wondering, what am I doing here? Who am I? What do I want? Gosh, this man in red shoes. I think next time we're going to go to Stockholm, and hopefully celebrate that he's going to get the Nobel Prize for peace and goodwill. I like to call myself a guide because I don't think but to really follow it with an action, because the power of positive thinking is wonderful, but unless you make a decision and put it into action, and I'm here to celebrate. I'm here to celebrate you, the young people, because this is the evening time in my life, and I hope to be a good role model to you. Don't worry about age. If I go out on a date and man asks, how old are you? I'm going to say, go home. I'm not interested in numbers. I think young. I'm going to hopefully be a person this morning that when you go home, it's not going back. It's a new beginning. That you're going to give birth to the you that was meant to be free from the pain, from the pain. There are accidents. I was meant to be here with you this morning, and maybe look at life as one day, because that morning sunshine may not come back. And for me, I appreciate every moment. I still have a hard time throwing away a piece of bread. I will eat up your leftovers. I was in partnership with a psychiatrist, a nice white Anglo-Saxon Protestant from Johns Hopkins. And we would go out to lunch, and he would just eat a little bit and then leave it on his plate, and I would eat up his leftovers. It had nothing to do with money, but sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until we lose it. I'm coming to you as a mother of 3, a grandmother of 5, and 3 great-grandsons. So I have now 4 generations, and that's the best revenge to Hitler. Yeah. I came to America in 1949. In 1949, I didn't speak a word of English, and the Red Cross gave me $6 to get off the boat. But you see, I worked in a factory doing piecework, and I went to the bathroom, and one of them said colored, and I didn't realize that there is prejudice. I always went to the colored bathroom. I joined the NAACP, I marched with Martin Luther King, and I think we're here today that not to talk about something,